And for more, let's go to Rome. Thibault Muzergues, political director at the think tank Shared Ground, the author of The Woke Right, the book published recently in French. Thanks for being with us here on France 24.
Thanks for having me, François.
This scandal, or I don't know if it's a scandal yet, is about to break officially, as you heard our correspondent say. Once again, it's EU Parliament funds, not just the French, that are misused. And yeah, the far right's reasoning is, why is it only us?
Yes, and they have good reasons to ask that because for the moment it's mostly them who are in the on the receiving end of this. But let's remember that François Bayrou and his party were also on the receiving end of similar.
The former centrist prime minister.
Yeah, absolutely. Have similar probes in the. I think if I remember well, it was in the 2010s. Even though Bayrou was not condemned, Marielle de Sarnez and other people did face condemnation. They are certainly right to find the timing a bit weird, but they have misuse. If they have misuse, which is not, it needs to be proven. We don't have the proof yet, but as is suspected, they have misused EU funds. They need to face the penalties. Now, is this misuse for private gain, or is it a misuse? Is it a sign of, let's say, professional incompetence? This is something that needs to be to be discovered. The rules when it comes to political party financing are very complex. And when I talk about lack of professionalism, I think this is not only the problem of the National Rally or of the former party Identity and Democracy. It's also due to the many rules that are there in Brussels. Big parties are perfectly capable of navigating through that system. The smaller parties are the ones that lack professional staff that can deal with all the accounting and all the legalistic issues are struggling, and therefore can become targets.
Yeah,
even more so.
I was going to say
even more so.
Go ahead.
Even more so when they are saying that the system is against them, right? If you say that the system is against you, then there are chances that the system is going to be especially harder. Or if you say that you're going to dismantle the system, then likely that the system is going to be harsh on you, right?
Okay, so let's just go over timelines here, because public opinion still believes in the French judiciary overall. You've had the former French president, Nicolas Sarkozy, convicted over a campaign finance scandal involving late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. He wrote a book claiming it was a vendetta, and then he was convicted again on appeal. Marine Le Pen, she's going to have her conviction. She was one of more than a dozen inside her party convicted over the funneling of EU funds towards her party headquarters. We're going to know the verdict in that appeal next Wednesday. My question is, will this matter come elections? We now have the date for those presidential elections, exactly 300 days from today.
Well, it will matter if Marine Le Pen is not able to run because of a judicial decision. I think philosophically it brings a whole lot of issues that we should care about, because at the end of the day, there are people who are going to argue that judges have decided of who runs in the presidential election. Obviously, if Marine Le Pen has done something wrong, she needs to pay for it. That's the way the justice system works. But it installs the suspicion that the judges are getting in the political game, and this is never a good thing. Now, when it comes to whether this has a consequence on the election itself, I don't think so. I think the National Rally has an electoral base that is solid as a rock, and that the people who vote for the National Rally will not care about this. And it is, if ever the National Rally loses votes between now and the first round and the second round, it will be because they will not have done a good campaign, or because the others will have done a good campaign. But I don't believe that it will have that much of an influence over the votes of people.
So Thibault, let me ask you about this. Let me ask you about this, because France has, as you were just describing it, a 2-round system. You energize the base, as you explain, in the first round, before you hold your nose and vote for somebody else if your favored candidate didn't come through in the runoff. The current system, does it really favor the extremes, Marine Le Pen and the far right, and the far left and Jean-Luc Mélenchon right now?
The system does not it does not favor anyone. I think the reality today is that we have 3 electoral blocks: one that is liberal to classical liberal, one that is nationalist, and one that is new right, if you want, and one that is new left. The problem for the liberals is that they are hopelessly divided, and this is why they are, they are not faring very well in the election. But you're looking at the situation apart from the nationalist bloc, which is in which the National Rally really, because they are professional as a party, at least for gaining the votes. Apparently for using EU funds, that's another thing. But they're pretty good at getting first round votes. They are dominating that pillar. The other 2 pillars are more. They're more divided, they're more atomized. And so the question is, which of these pillars will be able to get a candidate that mobilizes most people? And that depends on the number of candidates, but that also depends on the capacities of the leading candidate, the one who will be at the very end of the campaign, the leading candidate of each of these camps, to basically to mobilize, to get people behind him. And I think that's the problem for the centrists or the liberals, if you want to call them like that. I think the problem is that right now there is much less enthusiasm over their candidacies, rather than people whom we have deemed until recently as the extremes, whether it's extreme right or extreme left. The dynamics right now seem to favor, or the dynamics seems to favor these candidates, but I don't think it's the system that encourages them. It's rather the situation that France is in, and the general public mood.
All right, listening to you, Thibault Muzergues, we get the sense that the real campaigning after the summer hasn't actually begun in earnest. Many thanks for joining us from Rome.
Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. There's more to come, more news, plus the day's business. And in sports, well, we'll be checking in with Selena Sykes with all the latest from the World Cup in the United States.